Hey, Julie.
Hey, Julie.
Welcome to Hey, Julie, a podcast about Big Brother and Survivor. Danielle, hello. How are you? I haven't seen you in
Hello.
so long.
I know it's been a long time, but we haven't seen each other, but we did listen to each other's solo podcasts.
That podcast came out many weeks ago.
I know, but I
We
just
have done a
listened to
podcast since then.
it.
We did, and we actually did see each other's faces. It was just we weren't doing the live stream because my
I
computer was all
forgot.
messed up. Yeah.
I forgot. What's freshest in my mind is the solo podcast because that's what I listened to this past weekend.
You're like, oh wow. You're like, oh wow.
I thought
Izzy
it
just
was
got
really
evicted
good.
from Big Brother.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought it was really, really good.
I loved it. I should probably just tape some pods by myself and not release
As a
them.
listener, I thought it was really good, but as the recorder, as the host, I much prefer doing it, both of us.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that is fun. I mean, theoretically the chemistry of this show is what
In theory.
keeps the dozens of people listening to this
In
pod.
theory. And if you're interested in more theory and STEM, stick around because we will be talking about lessons in chemistry.
Yeah, this one's going to be all over the place.
Yeah,
Dani
it
was
is.
traveling. She had a nightmare weekend.
Nightmare. Everyone remembers that last week my child was sick. This week my husband is sick.
Yeah, both
I
of your
am
kids are sick.
single-handedly keeping this household running. Where is my gold star?
But here we are potting on a Monday night. The Big
Here we
Brother
are.
week is halfway over. Survivor happened days or even weeks ago.
Weeks ago.
And you and I are probably going to talk about a movie that I saw and a television show that you saw. And
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of it. Like the Hey Julie grab bag at the end of the episode is going to be so fun and all over the place. But before we get to that, we have to talk about Big Brother and Survivor.
yeah, so where shall we start?
Let's start with Survivor.
I was gonna, if you said, I don't know, what about you? What do you think? I was gonna say, let's start with Survivor. There's not too much to talk about, except for the one thing in which there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So they broke up the tribes and distributed the Lulu losers.
Hashtag Brett was right. I believe I said that in our previous.
Well, you said there'd be the merge.
I said there would be some sort of funny business, some sort of
you were
machinations.
Right. You were right. Yeah. Well, they needed to. They couldn't just keep letting Lulu losers like keep voting themselves or leaving voluntarily. Yeah. So they distributed the teams. We got the new teams. One thing I'm just gonna say off the top of my head: how much did you love when Bruce pretended to lose the key?
Oh, I loved it. I tracked it. I was like, oh no, he's just doing a bit because he's a dad. Oh no, he's not doing a bit because he's a dummy. Oh, he's doing.
It was a bit, and that's classic dad to like push it too far, where everyone's actually concerned, and then they're mad at you instead of just doing it like leaving while you're ahead and everyone thinking it's funny. Now everyone's mad at you, Bruce.
Not the only person who people are mad at this week. We're gonna save that part.
Okay.
I love that Emily ended up on the Reba tribe or whatever tribe she's on. She's with some Reba people, and Emily's like, "Hey everyone, I'm normal. I'm just a normal human being here, who's just an underdog, just like many of you. Who here can identify with me, Emily, a normal person."
Yeah, she rebranded again.
And Drew and Austin believe it. She's like,
yes.
Like, Emily's great. I'm beginning to have a crush on Emily. Like,
yeah,
they're fighting over Emily. Yeah.
They thought she was evil. They thought she came across as evil and like sinister, I think was the word someone used. But then they shot it. They showed her like being goofy with a machete trying to open a coconut. and then totally were one over. Emily is the queen of reinvention. You know, they said it was Madonna. They said it was Lady Gaga. Every era, it's a new persona.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
She's a comedy queen now.
Yeah, she is. No Hard Feelings, now available on Netflix. Please watch it. I thought it was great. But Emily is truly the queen of reinventing herself because, yeah, as Philip G in the chat says, Emily is so real and down to earth.
Just like us.
Just like us. Us Magazine. Us Weekly.
Is that still coming out?
I think it is. Having been in 2 airports Yes, it
Oh,
is.
wow.
So she's doing great. She's fitting right in Reba.
Do you know who's not quite fitting in? What's going on with Sifu? Like,
Oh, I loved Sifu had
what's
a great moment. Sifu went,
Sifu?
who voted for Sifu? I actually loved it. I thought that was great.
Sifu has been speaking in the third person a lot in this
Yeah.
episode. And I was like, you know
Well,
what?
that's
This
just what he
kind of
does.
tracks. Something about him is very off as a human being. Like, he's
But that's
doing
just
bits, he's
yeah.
playing guitar he's like talking ominously at people while holding a machete. And he doesn't know that he's coming. He's like, First of all, Sifu is like an imposing man. He does like karate and
Yeah.
stuff, and he just like looks like a video game character of a guy who beats up guys.
Yeah.
And he's holding a machete, and he's like, we better be Sifu strong or Reba strong or whatever the hell they are." And then he speaks in the third person.
I think he's just been doing that the whole time. We just haven't spent as much time with him yet. Like he was definitely an early standout because he spoke in third person. And yeah, he talked about like he's kind of like what's that Steven Seagal-ish?
Oh yeah,
How do you
sure.
think there's a Steven Seagal-esque quality to him?
Yeah, he's
His
somewhere.
appreciation for the Eastern martial arts, his speaking in third person. He should grow a ponytail.
Danielle, as you know, because you love Dungeons and Dragons, Sifu is sort of like multi-classing as a monk and a bard.
Oh. Oh, yes, I get that.
Yeah.
Bard was Chris Pine, right?
Yeah.
Who was the monk?
Well, there wasn't a monk in the
Oh, well,
Dungeons
then
and
how am I
Dragons
supposed to know
movie.
what you're
Well,
talking
there
about?
are monks. They fight. They punch.
Oh, they do fight?
Oh, everybody fights in Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay. Well, I wish they would have put a monk in the film because then I would have known what that is. He's definitely got some bard to him. He's got like a himbo. I don't know. There's something to him that's very amusing. I actually really like Sifu. I think he's like the type of character that last week I was saying I need more of, which is like less fucking nerds who like super fans and more just like cool characters.
Yeah, or aggressive weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Like less heartfelt speeches about being underdogs and more like actual little freakazoid people.
to be honest though, I'll just say with Sifu, like I don't see him getting very far because he's kind of like an alien. Like people just don't talk to him, and he doesn't talk to people unless he's talking about like his like death metal band or whatever that he does.
Yeah.
And like doing like meditation or I don't know. He just seems like even more so than remember like Jonathan
Yes.
Aquaman from
I
a
will
few years
never
ago.
forget Jonathan. Every episode of this season, I've gone, I
I'm
wish
like,
Jonathan was here.
Yeah.
Like
He's
seriously.
like Sifu's almost like 100% a physical player, and he's not even like that amazing of like a physical.
He's not at
competitor or
all. That's
anything.
the problem.
He's more so than like Brandon or whatever guy who fainted on like
Yeah.
the ladder.
Yeah,
But like he
Scoliosis.
just seems to like not really talk with anyone, and like every time we're with whatever tribe Sifu's in, everyone's like, man, I don't know about Sifu. Meanwhile, Sifu is like 35 yards in the distance, out of focus, just staring into the sea.
He needs that would make him like the over the top good character for me. I am not lying. Every episode when they hit the physical challenges, I think to myself, I wish I could be watching Jonathan do this challenge because he was just so interesting to watch and how easy he made everything look. It was like we've said this before in a multitude of ways, but it is so interesting when you see like a true athlete, like a really superhero-esque athlete next to a bunch of Joe Schmoes. Not that the people on Survivor, like a lot of them are in really good shape, but like when you see the difference and how fucking easy they make it look next to all the other people who are struggling, it's fascinating. I miss Jonathan. Bring him back. We need another All-Star season. I've had enough with these newbies.
We just had one like 5 years ago.
Let's do another.
The winners, they were at war.
Yeah, but you know what? World War.
Losers and left.
Losers and Lost.
That's Bachelor in Paradise, I believe.
I
That's what you should call that show.
don't know. I haven't been watching, unlike perhaps you.
Oh, I haven't been watching. I watched
Oh,
like
okay.
5 minutes of Golden Bachelor, and I was like, "This isn't hot." In the
Yeah. Sometimes you need, you know what? Since the Idol's been off air, there's been a lack of hotness on TV, and that's just
What I will
unfortunate.
say, this is a preview for like later. Jacob Elordi is in everything, man.
And we thank him for that.
He's hot. What can I say, man? That guy's hot. He was in all of the trailers for every movie I saw.
Well, they're making him happen. HBO, once they get a male star, they say he's going to be Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, Tom
Darth Vader's
Darth Vader.
grandson. Yeah. I'm sorry, I was on a text chain, and it was like about how someone tweeted in 2014, wouldn't it be funny if Adam Driver was the biggest star that comes
Yeah, I
out of
saw that
Girls?
today. Yeah.
And I was like, well, you can't really fight with Darth Vader, like, once you're cast as Darth Vader. And my friends were like, he did not play Darth Vader. And I'm like, I saw those movies. All of those movies I watched.
I was gonna say you threw out that Adam Driver played the grandson of Darth Vader. I was like, wow, Danny's like quite conversant in the intricacies of Star Trek or Star Wars, timeline and family tree.
I thought for sure he was Darth Vader.
No, Darth Vader is a different guy.
The little kid is Darth Vader, right? Jake Lloyd. Yeah.
Jake Lloyd, Hayden Christensen. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool. So they have a kid. Who's their kid?
Luke and Leia.
Oh, Luke is the kid. And okay, so Adam Driver is Luke's son?
Incorrect. Leia and Harrison Ford get it on and get married. And he's Han Solo. You saw the movie.
I forgot.
The movie, The Rise of Skywalker, the 9th film in the Skywalker saga, is perhaps one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And it's a movie that I implore all of my friends. Most people haven't seen this movie. And I implore my friends all the time, like, you need to see this movie because it's the most Star Wars movie to ever Star Wars. And it's just like every 2 minutes, something crazy happens and everyone goes, let's go. And then they go to a different planet and like something completely stupid and crazy happens.
Who directed that one?
That was JJ, your boy.
Oh, my boy JJ. Darn.
This is Molly's game. JJ and Aaron.
Did Luke ever have a kid?
Not that I'm aware of.
That seems like a wasted opportunity.
In like the in-between seasons of Mandalorian, he like hangs out with Baby Yoda. He like adopts him. He fosters Baby Yoda.
Oh, I love Baby Yoda. Okay.
Here we go.
Back to Survivor. So the big thing that happened this week is Sean gave up and decided to go home at Tribal Council. And he did so when like the chips were not necessarily stacked against him. Like, it wasn't like he was for sure going home. In fact, going into Tribal, the ladies of Reba were like, we think we're going to talk a big game at Tribal about how we're going to vote you out, but we're actually keeping you. We're going to vote Sifu out. So he was going into this with the knowledge that like maybe he could go home, but it wasn't like written in stone. And he gave this like big speech. He gave a very nice speech about how he he wasted a lot of his youth because he was Mormon and in the closet. I think this was like a good, nice speech that I'm sure a lot of people related to. I think what people probably have an issue with is like the conclusion of the speech, which was like, now I'm going to go home because I wasted enough time. Right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the season's 20. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the feeling, of course, is beautiful and valid that he brings up. But like, he's like, and I don't want to spend another moment without my husband. You're going to see him in 2 weeks.
I know. That was
already it's like night 8 or night 9 or something like that of 26. Like,
it's 26 nights. Yeah, it was night 9. It's 26 nights.
Married and you're like, hey, I got to go out of town for work for 2 weeks. It's like, bye.
Yeah, pretty much. And then when you get back, you're excited to see each other. Like that, it's actually good for the relationship sometimes.
I don't have any obviously I don't have any problems with like the feelings that he had towards his husband, towards his life, as he reflected. Everybody reflects. Here's the deal. Here's the thing that I'm gonna shake out on this. Ready? Get the clap emojis ready. Survivor is not therapy.
Yeah.
Survivor is not therapy. It's
Yes.
great that this came up for you. Everyone, I'm sure, who goes on Survivor, whether they're there for 2 minutes like Brandon on the ladder, whether they're there for 30 seconds like Bruce last year gets hit on the head, or whether they win the whole thing or get to the end and get 0 votes, I'm sure everyone has a very emotional growing experience there. That's not the point. You don't win Survivor by, like, that's not the point of you being there, right? Like, and it's great that you have that and had that realization, but like the point of going there is not to have your own personal, you know, realization or like make steps on your own mental health journey and then just decide, oh, I've made my own steps on my mental health journey, and then go home in the middle. Like, I want to get your response, but I have a lot more to say about this, that like about how this can be prevented in the future, how this connects to other people who have left other CBS reality shows. But like, come on, we're on a game show here. What are we doing?
I absolutely agree. What I was wondering is, like, here's the thing. This is one thing I'll push back on, is this actually is what Survivor is now. Like, and I have to imagine the producers are pushing it to be this type of way and they're casting with this in mind. But what was interesting about this is, like, it's like, this is the type of thing that would come out naturally if he was, say, like, if there were 7 left, right? Like, this would be his story. They'd put together a nice little package about how he wasted so much time. He grew up Mormon, da da da. Where this is the 4th tribal council, right?
Something like that.
So it felt like he was kind of like taking the bull by the horns and being like, I don't see myself winning. I'm just going to give up, but I want to make sure I get my story out. Like, I'm not going to get that package, but I'm going to shoehorn my story in and make sure that I get to use an overused phrase in our modern culture, my main character moment.
Jen F in the YouTube chat right now says, sounds like a case of main character syndrome.
Yes,
or whatever Gen Z calls it. Parentheses, I'm an old, so I don't know. LOL.
I agree. I'm also an old, but I do know that it's main character syndrome. Yes, it felt very shoehorned in. And that just made it like it obviously was authentic. Like, I don't think anyone's doubting that he felt these things and this was true to his experience, blah, blah, blah. But it felt inauthentic to the show, even because we're used to getting people's emotional stories. But for them to do it in this way and then peace out, it's kind of like you're being robbed. It's like there's no actual emotional payoff for anyone, because we didn't really see this guy have any arc on the show whatsoever.
It came out of nowhere. I want to read this It was in our questions for the podcast channel in our Discord. Sign up for the Discord in the description of the podcast. Bat Hot writes, I think they need to rethink the kinds of people they cast. The current era of Survivor has been too inspirational and tender. IMO. We need Gen F. That's in my opinion. We need more cutthroat crazies and chaotic players instead of people who are either too tender about the show or trying to manufacture a feel-good underdog story every season. I think that
manufactured. Yes. Oh, Philip G in the chat says they should have a circus cannon for quitters so they can self-evict. I like this. I like this idea. I do think there should be some, not like a walk of shame, but like there should be a reason to not quit, because we went from 0 quitters to like so many quitters, and I don't like the rate at which the quitting is happening is worrisome.
I think you know what, like, and I don't want to like put gasoline on like what I thought was kind of like a gross and disgusting narrative, but I don't know if you remember this, but when the Survivor cast was announced and their photos were announced, you know, like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever it was, there was this weird low drum beat of like, everyone on the show is a beta. Like, it was a lot of like kind of Joe Rogan, like beta cuck language. Like all the men aren't really men this year. It's all women, and like beta men. Like, so I thought that was like kind of disgusting and gross, and like, you don't know what these
Yeah.
fucking people are like or anything or whatever. Like, so I thought that was like kind of just like a lame thing. Like, it wasn't a lot, but I saw it on like Survivor Twitter and like Reddit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this, granted, like the people who quit, it was like Hannah or whatever the hell her name was, who was just like us. It was just like, I like breadsticks, and she was like out. And Sean, who like, you know, up until like literally, you know, 75 minutes into that episode, I was like, you know what, Sean's like a pretty good player. People like him. Like, he's a young physical guy. Like, he looks like he can physically, you know, withstand another month down there. But I hope, you know, Jeff and the rest of the Survivor production crew, which Jeff is an executive producer on the show. Like, anytime he talks about getting to know the contestants, like, he's part of the casting. It's not like Julie shows up day one and is like, Bowie, Howie, what's her name? She doesn't know who these people are at all. She don't care.
No.
Jeff is like, Jeff is an executive producer on the show, and he is deeply part of every single part of the process, what twists are used, all sorts of stuff. And I would imagine that he probably is like a bit embarrassed. And I think I had a coworker say that they listened to his podcast, which it's weird. They advertise it. It's the official podcast of Survivor. And yet our podcast exists. So I don't know why that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, they are casting the wrong people. And I think Bat Hot gets at that a little bit. Like, they are casting for like feel good rather than like people who are crazy and want to win and would like backstab their mother to win $1 million on a remote and deserted island.
Yeah. I think they need to dip into some of the people they cast for Big Brother. What I'm trying to what the reason I say this is, like, people who willingly want to go on Big Brother have something wrong with them, because like they're clearly unhappy with their lives. Unless if you're Suri and you're like a pretty normal person, but you are like a regular CBS.
That's her job. That's like her gig. That's her side gig. Right? You know how like Uber's like, get your side hustle on.
Yeah.
But drive an Uber. CBS is like, Suri, get your side hustle on. Come on a show and be good for 3 months.
But like, there's got to be something seriously wrong with you to say, yes, I'll go on a reality show where I'm filmed 24/7 for 100 days. And like, I won't see any friends or family, any of my support system for 100 days. And I'm only going to win. I still think it's too low, $750K, even though they raised it. That's the best case scenario, but most likely you're only going to make whatever it is they make, like $1,000 a week before taxes. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's like a crazy person to really want to do that. They need some of those crazy people to go on Survivor because it's a shorter amount of time, but they're still unhappy with their lives. We have too many people on Survivor who are happy with their lives.
Or like they're pretty happy and all they need to do is not eat food for 8 days and be like, I love my spouse. And it's like, okay, well, grow up.
Yeah.
So does everybody else. Don't go on TV. I want to tie this back a little bit. It's different. It's obviously super different. Okay. It's obviously super different. But remember when the guy who was on Big Brother this season was kicked off because he said very racist things?
Yes.
Andrew, Brian, Tim, whatever the hell his name was. Remember how when he did his like intro video, I was like, something about that guy is a little spicy in a racist sort of way.
He was a big Brett was right.
Yeah, that was the biggest Brett was right of
ever.
The decade. Obviously this is not that, right? But I was shocked and I was so upset when that thing had happened, and I screamed on this podcast about how did I know in 2 seconds, and how did y'all not know in the 3 months of casting and all the background checks and all this shit bringing them on. So obviously different, but like put more thought and bring some people with like brain cells into the casting here. Like, something about your casting is broken, not fully broken, we had Jonathan, we had
I think they
Marianne,
just need to
we
tweak.
got Emily this year. There's a lot of great people, but like the fact that we're bringing on people who are like they think Survivor is like a hotel they can check out of after a day, or like something that is kind of like very temporary. It is temporary. It's only a month long. But the
Yeah.
fact that there have been 2 people this year who are just like, I'm not feeling this, goodbye. Like that's troubling. And like they need to kind of figure out what type of people they're doing. And maybe some of their testing or audition process is maybe letting in a few more people who are just kind of like, oh, I can just kind of like unsubscribe from being on Survivor, like I can unsubscribe from being on Netflix. And it's like, no, you're here. Philip G says they should smash a Chili's bloomin' onion in the face of the next quitter. Product placement. Philip G, you are incorrect. Bloomin' onion is an Outback Steakhouse product.
Wow. Incorrect.
You should get a bloomin' onion in your face, Philip G.
I think it's just a simple tweaking of what they're looking for. Like, I think this directive came from above of like, let's find a lot of people who are in touch with their emotions so that they'll give us good stories, right? So I think if
and
they
not
just
like
change
physically
that a little
threaten other
Yeah.
players or something like that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they need to edit that. They need to find more big freaks who are like Andre the Giant. We need more Andre the Giants. Jen F in the chat says, has that ever happened on Big Brother? Like excluding Evil Dick's second season when he walked for a medical thing. I can't recall anyone quitting Big Brother. Incorrect, Jen F. Megan in BB19 left voluntarily.
She was like, I got PTSD from being bullied or something. I don't know. Like it wasn't shaking out for her. I mean,
yeah.
Hey, like you know what? Much like Megan, this is pretty early in the season. I still think we're like in store for like a bunch of good people to put on a great season of Survivor whenever they get to the merge and whenever they stop doing silly twists and stuff like that.
Once we get there. Yeah, it was another episode where I was like, well, these episodes are all so long, these Big Brother episodes. I mean, these Survivor episodes. And then now, speaking of, should we talk about the long Big Brother episodes?
This Killers of the Flower Moon 75-minute Big Brother episode? Ain't nobody got time for
that. Yeah. So I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this was such a long episode of Big Brother. I watched them all today. So they're all kind of like a pot in my mind.
Sure.
Basically, Jag wins secret HOH. Jag nominates.
Secret, but yeah.
Pardon?
Not so secret, but
right.
Tells everybody.
He nominates Sari and Felish. But then there are 2 veto ceremonies.
He nominates Blue and Felish.
Oh, Blue and Felish. Sorry. Blue and Felish. Then there are 2 veto ceremonies. Blue wins one and Jag wins the other. So they conspire and they see that the time is right because America makes this big flop decision to try to bring in Blue. And she's like, we can go after Matt and Jag together. Like they're working against you. Blue uses this as ammo against Cory. So Jag and Blue, the veto winners, conspire to take off Blue and Felish and put up America and Cory. And it was actually very good to watch, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of going to be like the chorus with America the rest of the season. It has been this season. It's like someone who can see the full chessboard, but has not really many great skills on like getting anything done. So in a vacuum, seeing that Blue is should be going after Matt and Jag. Blue is absolutely one of the next people for them to target, and it would be in her best interest to kind of wise up to that. That's America seeing the chessboard, seeing all the moves, but but what she did was a bad gameplay move because it doesn't actually take into account who Blue is. Blue is a lover, but like not great at Big Brother, not particularly smart, and blindly loyal to people who are bad for her
Yeah.
in
Yes.
in real life and in outside of it, right?
Yes.
So like the move itself was like textbook. It makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't factor in that Blue is blindly loyal to Jag and Matt. So it's actually kind of a bad move. So that screws them up. And it's like, well, that's an America move right there. It's like kind of smart on paper and takes into account like the house dynamics in a way that's kind of like in the top, the upper echelon of people in the season, except for it doesn't actually take into account the feelings and personality of the person she's trying to make a move on.
Yeah. They and I'm kind of happy. I hate to say it. I'm kind of
Oh,
happy
for
that
sure.
it
Yeah.
flopped because, like, even though I really like America, every time she gives like a diary room session or the way she like confronts people, like I loved when I loved when
You love it.
Cody and Jag were like upstairs about to have their little talk, and America just busts in like, "Why would you do this?" I thought it was great. I really like her. I want to root for her. But I also think she sucks. And like so when things blow up in her face, I can't help but like enjoy it a little bit because what they were saying in their goodbye messages or in their people were saying like, "Oh, they're just like too comfortable. They're just off under the blankets, canoodling this whole season." I agree with that. I think they need to get that, like in the words of Kim Kardashian, get your ass up and work. Nobody wants to work these days.
Everyone just wants to go on Survivor and quit.
So
Yeah,
it was
I mean,
incredibly
whatever.
the tears were very satisfying when they backdoored them. Double
Yeah,
backdoor, loved it. I
yeah.
mean, it was
No,
great.
of course. And like it's funny to see the pipsqueak. It's funny to see America's most convincing man. Uh
I
like his one Achilles heel, he was the woman he couldn't control. He loved what he couldn't
yes.
control. And like,
She
like
was crazier than him and she was his queen.
like he like they talked, they all figured out, he figured out what happens. He knew that what happened, that what killed his game was that his girlfriend had a conversation she shouldn't have with someone else. And once they got on the block together, everyone's like, well, you're the bigger target than her. Keep her around. She's
Yeah.
easy to get out. And
Yeah.
now that you're not there, she's going to continue having fights with people and being somewhat unhinged. So like, he was great. Put up, you know what? Bring Cory back. Put him on, Big Brother All
He
Star
was
3
amusing.
or
He ended up
whatever. He
being
was,
so much better than I thought he was going to be from my
yeah.
initial. I thought he was very fun. I was in Washington, D.C. this weekend, Georgetown specifically. I messaged Brett saying, everyone here talks like Cody. They all talk like
Cory.
Cody. Oh, yeah, Cory. I think I
You're
called
like,
him Cody
hey, my brother. Me and my brother gonna hang out with Derek this weekend and eat some sausages.
Oh God, I can't believe I'm still calling him Cody. Cody is an iconic name. Cory is not there yet, unfortunately. Everyone there wears like a fleece vest.
Oh yeah.
And they are talking like they're in debate club, and it's very cute. And that's Cody for you.
Sounds
should
like
go to
I shouldn't
Georgetown.
go to. Oh, I was gonna say, it sounds like I shouldn't go.
Cody should go to Georgetown.
Oh, Cody, yeah, and Cory too.
Yeah, I also thought in his like goodbye eviction interview with Julie, he was very charming. I thought he like gave really nice answers. Like in all the opposite ways of how Jared was, I was like, oh, I bet Cory is actually Cory is actually a good boyfriend. Like he was saying the right things, even though he's on my shit list for not standing up to America to Felish.
Listen to us, men and women. If your partner is starting a fight that they shouldn't and that they're wrong, you have to defend them legally.
Yes. But he refused to talk shit about her to Julie, even though she didn't have a good gameplay. He was just like, yeah, like she's the reason he's gone home. but he was like, "Oh, it was gonna happen no matter what." Like he was very. I liked the way
He was
talked
saying
about
the right things.
it.
He
Yes,
was being funny. He was being affable. Like
very charming.
Cody's a star.
Cory.
Yeah, I know. Um, can I talk about some rando things?
Yes.
I mean, everyone knows what happened on
Yeah,
it.
we know what happened.
Okay, so this is last Sunday. Sorry, last Sunday, if it's possible to remember. When they're doing the BB Comics thing, Matt is like, "Oh, Riley's comic book cover. She's looking mighty fine." And he's like simping for her, and he's like, "See you finale night, boo." Like, what's going on? You guys were like friends, and like there was never like any inkling of
No.
anything romantic. And Matt, as he should be, well, not he should be, but like Matt's in solitary confinement with Felicia, like pooping in the porta potties right now, like
Is that what
in a
that thing
cosmic
was?
sense. Oh yeah,
She had
in
to
a
poop in
cosmic
there?
sense, he's like alone. He has like a lot of spare time to like think
Yeah.
about things. He has become convinced that like there's something going on with him and Riley. I'm just gonna say, like, let's put a bookmark in that and just like
You
see
know,
what happens, because I want to
sometimes
know. I was like, what are we doing?
sometimes you have to admit people make powerful stories in their minds. I do
Oh,
this,
yeah.
I've done this too. People make the most incredible fantasies in their minds about like
Fantasy.
what?
My beautiful dark twisted
Yes.
fantasy.
My mermaid fantasy.
Oh yeah.
People will just like, especially if it's just like a chance or not even a chance encounter, but like a short encounter with someone. And this can be both good and bad, right? Like it could be, oh, you just had like you have this crush from summer camp, but you only overlapped for 1 week and then you both went home. But like in your mind, you're like, oh, but we would be married by now if
We would be married. Yeah.
yeah. And then there's the opposite.
Yeah.
There's like the negative. There's like that person who, if only you had your wits about you, you would have told them off. You would have given them a piece of your mind. Like people, like it's fun to write stories in your mind. All Matt has had time for is writing these stories in his mind. So in his mind, he and Riley are betrothed and they will be wed once he leaves this house.
Will they be wed on finale night?
A la Bailey and what was that guy's name? Sparky.
Sparky J. It was Swaggy. It was Swaggy.
Sparky and Swaggy.
Let's
Riley's Promise. Yes, that was the name of their group. Their group was named Riley's Promise.
Whose group?
It was like Jag, Matt.
They were called
Was
the
it Blue?
Fivesome, the Handful. They were called they were called the Handful.
A group of them made a little group
Oh,
called. There
another
were
one?
so many
Right.
alliances this
Oh,
season, but
yeah,
a couple of them made a group called Riley's Promise, which is like so funny to think of like these solemn men being like, we gotta keep Riley's promise alive. Like as if they're all troops and Riley is a fallen soldier who happens to
Yeah,
also really be hot.
it sounds like a charity for like a soldier who died.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you protected us, Baghdad.
Private Riley's Promise.
So this Sunday
Mhm.
happened.
Yes.
A lot of things happened. First of all, Dani, I just need to know. We're going off. We're in the back half of the pod now. How are your teeth?
My teeth are perfect. In aesthetic, they're perfect. When I go to the dentist, I always have cavities. They're trying to get me to do this gum thing. I'm just
Gum
not
is
interested.
good now?
No, like the gums, like
Okay.
they have a sensitivity that they're worried about. So they think I should see a specialist. I'm like, I've never related to Seinfeld more than being an anti-dentite. Like, I really think they're all conspiring against me to get as much money out of me as possible. Because I'm like, come on, my teeth are great. All right.
I'm actually seeing my dentist on Friday for
You like your dentist?
cleaning. I started seeing a new dentist and I like my dentist. I know a new dentist.
Okay, well, good.
He's like roughly my age and he's like, hey man. And I'm like, hey dude. And we're like bonding, but like I could tell he's like a family man and I'm not. So
you're a heathen.
yeah, but it's like I'm like, but we're like friends and he's like I'm a family man. I am a fucking doctor. I like have a
Yeah.
practice. Like I run a business, and I'm like going to like late stage like millennial concerts and going to Vegas and things like that with no
You're going
kids.
to the Sphere.
Oh my god! Eventually, we're gonna pod in the
We
Sphere.
gotta go to the Sphere.
Uh,
The teeth. I don't know why you're asking me this. When
because of the
really,
Johnny Mac thing. Because of
I
the
know, but
truth.
what? But why would you ask me about teeth when the most important part about the dentist competition was that we saw present day Johnny,
I have many questions, and I have
and he
at least one
looks
question.
like Robert Pattinson, Bruce Wayne, with that hair.
So you go to a dentist, and they have like, and it's a man with long blonde hair, with like shoulder length hair. How are you
Shoulder
feeling
length.
about this?
I would be shocked. Also, thank you, Jen F. She says, get some parodontax. I'm going to write that down if it helps with the gums. All my fellow girls with gum issues, gum issue girlies, parodontax. Let's check it out.
Dani is sensitive with her emotions and sensitive with her gums.
They are supposedly. I have no issue. I am not in pain. I feel great, but they're telling me I got a big problem. So I don't know. I guess I would just be like, well, that's a dentist. Like, I don't know. I guess I would just accept it.
I don't know why, because like if I had a female dentist and they had hair that long, I'd be like, that's a average woman's haircut. But a man with that, I'm like, what are you doing? Are
Well, you
you
don't
gonna
want
get all
that
that
hair
hair in
falling
my
in your
teeth?
teeth. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he
exactly.
has like a little thing, like he has like one of those
Little
like caps,
bun.
like those surgery
Yeah.
caps, sort of thing. I don't
A little
know.
top
Like
knot.
so they said like on Thursday, they're like, get ready, it's Johnny Mac's spooky dentist competition on Sunday. And Johnny Mac, who I still follow on Twitter, he's like the only Big Brother house guest I still follow on Twitter, mostly because he doesn't tweet, so I wouldn't know to unfollow him. But he's tweeting about it. He's like, I'm back on Big Brother, people. And I thought, like, I don't know why. I thought he would like be there in person. And they're like, literally, like, hey, get your phone out, hold it sideways, hand it to the receptionist at your practice in Pennsylvania where you live, and just like read these 3 lines.
Yeah. It was
And
a la
and
Kesar.
and
Like
also like we're gonna put this like spooky like CCTV filter
Instagram
over it.
filter.
So
Yeah.
we really cannot, like, you can even use a bad iPhone from like 10 years ago.
It will actually help us if you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like just when we thought, like, remember how Kesar was on this season
Yeah, and he
doing
was just like, he was like, 3, you just got 12th place in the thing.
We thought that was low. This is a step down from that. This was a step down from that. I really think people should do a side-by-side comparison of Johnny Mac and Robert Pattinson as the Batman because it looks very similar to me.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't totally see it. Johnny Mac's blonde,
But his hair looked dark with the filter.
but it wasn't.
Okay,
It
sorry.
wasn't that color.
I'm sorry it wasn't 100%.
I can tell this is the blue,
like.
the blue or black dress. Like I know with that filter, I'm like, that's still blonde hair. He's like doesn't have jet black.
It's like a dirty blonde. It's a dirty
I don't
blonde.
want his dirty blonde hair in my teeth.
I
Get
didn't
a
like
haircut,
this
boy.
competition.
Damn.
I didn't like this comp at all.
I thought it was pretty fun.
I thought it was too long.
We have a question in the Discord. Tullinator
Yes.
asked, why was everyone so bad at the dentist comp? I didn't think it was that hard. I wish they would have said how long it actually took.
I agree.
I watched these and I'm like, this one's really easy. All you have to do is just like literally count, and then you go back and you do it. And every single person, even Jag, who won, had some struggles.
It took them all forever. Every single time, it was like frustrating to watch at a certain point. and wasn't this in the long episode? It felt like it. This was
No, that was on
this
Sunday
was so
night.
long.
It was
Oh, okay.
regular time Sunday night. No, there was the spinny one, was the long one.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh my lord.
We got a great question in the chat.
Uh,
Philip G wants to know which past house guests would be part of Dani's promise. I mean, you're not. This won't surprise anyone. Glenn, Summer of Steve,
Summer of Steve, yeah.
Cliff Hogg, Kevin, and Felicia. Those are my Danny's Promise pack. Thank you for taking a walk
Should we
down
talk
memory lane with me.
spoilers and then we can talk about stupid TV and movie stuff?
Yes, please do. I don't actually know the spoilers. I was
Well,
looking.
there's not that much to know.
Okay.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
not that much to know. I mean, at the end, Jag nominates America in blue, though he says in his DR, blue is actually his target. That'll be a fun moment for America, who's like, girl, I told you so a week ago, and your mouth is why Cory's not here. I mean, not that blue cares that Cory's not there. Yeah, he nominates them, and guess who wins veto, Danielle?
Who won veto?
Jag won veto.
Oh, no,
Jag is going to win every competition the rest of the season. Jag won veto. He didn't use it, and America and Blue are going to be sitting there on Thursday night. I haven't really been keeping up too much with like the specifics of the feeds in terms of like who people are going to vote out. I guess like if he wants Blue to be the target, I would imagine that Matt would vote that way. It kind of just depends where Bowie and Felicia and Cerise shake out on it. So it's up to them. We're kind of steamrolling towards. It's funny because a month ago, 2 months ago, we were like, man, Cerise, let's just hand her the 750K, and now it's just like hand Jag the 750K. I'm having a hard time, unless it's like the Matt Jag Bowie final 3 and Matt wins the final HOH and sends Jag home. Like, I'm having a hard time seeing how anyone other than him could win.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking this episode when there was a lot of like the Minutemen, or not this episode, this past week of episodes, there was a lot of like Minutemen content of Matt and Jag together. I just was like, you know what? I actually am kind of rooting for them. I wouldn't mind if they won. And then it cut to like Cerise and Felicia, and I was like, ooh, I like them too. I don't mind if they win.
Yeah.
And then they showed this great shot of Bowie Jane. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if Bowie Jane won? Of those 5, I actually would be tickled. Maybe not. Yeah, tickled pink, I will say, if any of those 5 win.
And America as well. No.
Not really. I just don't think it would be kind of funny if she ends up there, I guess.
I mean, I don't know. Who knows? It's equally as funny as Bowie Jane. It's not as funny as Bowie Jane.
No, it's not as funny, actually. It is so not as funny as if Bowie Jane won. Oh, yeah. Jen F said, what? No Frenchie in Danny's Promise?
In Danny's Promise.
I forgot Frenchie. I also forgot Bowie Jane. Sorry, forgive me.
Bowie Jane,
me. Yeah. Bowie Jane's definitely up there. Okay, so looks like Blue's gonna go, but you never know. This is a very flip-floppy cast. They've always been flip-floppy.
Yeah, like even it's like if Jag says he wants Blue out, why doesn't Felicia and
exactly? They should do what they want to do. They're the votes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything else about Big Brother?
No, who cares?
Julie's look was a knot.
So Julie's look was, I wrote down a sort of Carmela Soprano attitude look.
Yes, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
It was like a black dress. Her hair was half up. It was a lot of like turquoise jewelry, chunky jewelry. I don't know. It was just like it was like very mid, I would say.
I'm going to give it a soft hot.
Oh, wow. It's a knot for me.
Yeah.
I don't accept boring. We watched some other things this week and some things that are very different. Brett, since yours was so long, should you?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk for the next 3.5 hours about Killers of the Flower Moon in honor of its 3.5 hour runtime. Yeah, I mean, spoiler free. I saw Killers of the Flower Moon on Friday night, and it was great. That movie is good. That movie is also very long. Take that into consideration. Try and see it in a theater because I think with the runtime, I think and because Apple produced it, I would imagine it's going to be on Apple TV within the next month or two or something like that. it might be a bit of a struggle to watch like on your couch and you're like, oh, I could look at my phone or whatever. But man,
Mm-hmm.
this movie is really good. And the acting is incredible. Whoever Lily Gladstone is, who I'd never heard of before, who's like
Me neither.
the lead of this movie with Leo, is incredible. This woman's amazing. Just give her the Oscar now. Holy shit. A really like important movie about like one of America's two original sins. Like
Which is
Marty's slavery is the first one,
okay. What's
not
the other one?
pictured in this one, and like the massacre of the indigenous
Oh.
people.
Oh,
Like,
oh.
yeah,
I was like, I'm looking for a history lesson.
yeah. Oh, you wouldn't know. You in Canada, everything's been fine.
Oh yeah.
If no, but it's just fantastic. The acting is great. Everything about it is great. It's like a really thought provoking and like emotional movie that I've just been thinking about a lot for the last few days. Like, listen, I don't think I'm going to be firing this one up a lot in the rest of my life because it is like pretty heavy and it's a slog, but it's like it's always moving even at its slow points. It's like it's very methodical and um I mean, I want to talk about it with you eventually, but like there's some
How would
stuff
you
later in the movie that's like great and like surprising, and I can't recommend it enough.
Okay, in my mind, it's a lot it's sort of similar to The Power of the Dog. So, how would you
No, I
compare
hated The Power of the Dog.
I know you
I
hated
hated The
Power
Power
of
of
the
the
Dog.
Dog. The Power of the Dog is probably half the runtime of this movie
Yeah.
and was slower. The Power of the Dog, just nothing happens. This, all sorts of stuff happens.
Okay, I
Kill,
love when stuff
there
happens.
are killers in this movie.
And
That's the
moves.
first word of the title.
Okay.
Oh, I'll tell you, there's killing in this movie.
Okay.
I guess if folks don't know about it, it's based on a true story of a bunch of murders that were happening in and around the Osage people who were relocated to Oklahoma, I suppose, in the 19th century, and they become very rich. They live on this land that has a ton of oil. So all these Native American folks become super rich. And then, of course, all the white people come in like hordes trying to take their money and kill them. And like, it's they do bad stuff.
I
And
didn't even know that that was the plot. I honestly have
oh yeah,
no
oh
clue.
gosh, yeah, no, it's really interesting. No, I mean, these are based on real murders. These are real characters that happen. I'm sure much of this is dramatized,
Right.
but it's kind of based on this moment where they, and it says like in a card towards the beginning of the movie that like the Osage people were per capita the richest people in America in like the early 1920s because of all this oil money that they kind of lucked into by virtue of this other horrible thing, which was them being relocated by the government decades earlier. So it's really interesting. You see the first half hour of this movie takes place in this town where all the Native American folks dressed up really nice and have really nice like 1920s cars and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. And all the white people in the town are like, they're their chauffeurs and the people like trying to sell them like a picture, like, hey, will you take a picture in my booth, so
Right.
like, and they're all the service workers, and it's a really interesting like flip and juxtaposition. And then obviously like all the Native American folks are also getting murdered on the side by these white people, and you don't know who's doing the murders, and it's all to get like access to their oil money and stuff. So it's a really interesting and just well made and like wonderfully acted film. And obviously Marty knows what he's
We
doing with
have
the
to
camera.
support Marty. We have to support one of our oldest auteurs, American auteurs. He's been
Yeah,
around. He's given us so much. I support him.
he's given us many TikToks. He's
Yes,
given us
yeah,
many quotes
exactly.
about the Marvel movies that he has not
And
seen.
for that reason alone, I think we should support him.
Yeah, of course.
I also watched some stuff this week.
Tell me what
Uh,
you watched.
well, I remember I said it in one of our Discord channels. Well, so first of all, I am watching the morning show. I'm back
Oh
on the
yeah.
morning show train. I've talked about it a little bit. This show is so fun because it's just so crazy. And like the writers, I can tell, are like, how are we going to top ourselves? Like, we put Reese in space in the first episode. And now, like, the the morning show started as like the Today Show scandal, like from a
Yeah.
narrative drama
Yeah.
point of view, right? Like it was Matt Lauer, Katie Couric, and then whoever the hell Reese Witherspoon's supposed to be. But so now, after a season of
Savannah
that,
Guthrie.
pardon?
Savannah Guthrie.
Yeah, maybe. After a season of that, like Steve Carell's gone, right? Like they fired him and he's also dead. So
Oh my God.
spoiler alert. So like now they're just like, okay, what other bad things could men do that we can like make drama out of? So now like John Hamm is on the show as Elon Musk, but like Elon Musk-esque character.
Yeah.
And he and Jennifer Aniston are hooking up. It's very sexual. And there's like this other character played by Greta Lee, great actress, who's a top producer at the show. But for some reason, she also used to be like this tech wizard. And she was at Stanford when John Hamm's character had a student accelerator. And the in the accelerator, she made up this incredible piece of tech for anarchists to use against like government surveillance. But then John Hamm stole it and sold it to the government, and
Oh.
that's how he made his money. But like we're supposed to really connect with this, and I'm like, I don't think this matters. Like it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but they make it out. They have to find a way to make someone as evil as Matt Lauer, and it's just like so incredible to watch them try.
Here's one thing I have heard about this season is that an episode ends on a cliffhanger of, does Reese Witherspoon's character die in outer space?
That's the first episode, Brett.
Yeah, I heard about it. I'm like, this is not for me. It's just dumb.
So first, also Reese is at the insurrection. They send Reese to the insurrection.
There?
She goes.
Is Cameron there?
She's there with like her iPhone, like filming the news. Like it's so good.
She's a real journalist.
Oh, it's so good. It's so funny. Okay, so there's that. Then I also watched the first episode because I've been seeing a lot of ads for Lessons in Chemistry, which is on Apple TV Plus. Okay, so Apple TV Plus has got some real clunkers. Is all I can say. I know that people love this book.
Expensive clunkers as well.
How could this one be expensive? I know people love this book, but I don't understand how you could. This show felt, I said to Brett, like it was an AI bot, like an AI robot wrote like a 1960s rah-rah girl boss show. Like it just feels completely untethered from actual human emotion or like anything. It's like all the worst pastiche, like all the worst Mad Men parts, all the worst, like, I don't know.
But not with like an actual like opinion or point of view on any of those things.
Other than like,
we're gonna solve the 1960s problems today.
Yeah, like,
here
hey,
on your
sexism
television.
was bad. Hey, racism was also bad. And it's like, yeah, I agree. But like also, what else are you doing with this show?
Yeah, I listened to a podcast that described the first 2 episodes of this show. I will never watch a second. I will.
Well, it's
never
also
watch
it is so convoluted, Brett, because it's like Brie Larson plays a fucking nerd. She plays like a scientist. Okay, so she's a scientist, but of course they're not going to let her near the beakers because she's a woman. No. She has to make coffee, but she makes it in a special way because she understands science. And so everyone's like, oh, she makes the best coffee. but so she ends up like becoming the host of this TV show about cooking, but she sneaks in science. So it's like the housewives are learning. And it's like
girl boss,
revolutionary.
Girl boss wins. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how. They didn't even get the food porn aspect right. Like if there's a show, like, it's like Julie and Julia. Show me
or like
butter in the pan.
The bear's like, we're gonna watch. You're gonna get aroused watching this woman make an omelet.
I want to see people eating the food and enjoying it. But the problem is like, also Reese's Brie, her character is a little.
What are we? Where do we shake out on Brie? Because like,
I'm a fan of Brie.
Someone who like in these earlier films, like even like 21 Jump Street, she is like so naturalistic and beautiful and like funny and like just her being literally fucking Jonah Hill's romantic interest in like a
Yeah.
stupid like cop comedy thing. She's like, you're like, this woman's amazing. She's obviously
She's great.
amazing in Room.
Fab.
But some of this other stuff, like the Marvel stuff, the
Well,
freaking
that's where
Nissan
she
Slaughter
lost her
commercials or
mojo.
whatever,
That's the
she's just like
problem.
she's weird and would like something about her is like off and like I think she might be like really weird
She
IRL or
lost
something
her
like that.
mojo because of the
Yeah.
Marvel movies. That's what happened, and she has
Oh,
to fight to find it back, and this is just a stepping stone. Hopefully, she finds it back. But, like, yeah, she's a fabulous actress, but this is a weird character. I don't think it's her fault. I think this is a poorly done show. Like, I really don't think it's her fault. The guy in the show is also weird. Like they do the thing where it's like, this is a show for women, so we're gonna show the main love interest shirtless and wet in the first like 2 scenes.
that's what we're doing on the Hey Julie live
but
stream
like,
soon.
but like, but the problem is like he's also fucking weird and just it's these two
Is
people
this the
and they
Lewis
don't have
Pullman
chemistry
character?
together. Yes,
This is
they
the
don't
Lewis
have.
Pullman character?
Hmm.
Well, can I spoil for you what happens in the
Yeah,
second
tell me.
episode of the show?
Yeah.
Jen F in the chat says that episode 2 cliffhanger had my jaw on the floor.
Oh.
So again, I have not seen a segment of the show. I've just had it described to me. Episode 2 is like an hour long romance about how Brie Larson and Lewis Pullman fall in love and start a
Right.
life together. And there was no indication that anything would ever go wrong. And then in the final shot of the episode, Lewis Pullman gets hit by a bus and dies.
I am so over the way they do
Yes.
these types of deaths too.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think it's cool.
Not every
I'm
yeah, it's
so
not
over it.
cool. Not everything has to have like a cliffhanger. Like, how about you tell one story instead of just thinking about like what's the most fucked up thing I could put? Okay, I'm telling a story. I'm telling an 8 episode television show or a 10 episode television show. How about you just come up with a good story instead of coming up with a bad story and then being like, what's the most fucked up thing that can happen to these characters every 45 minutes? Because that's when the episodes end and I have to start a new episode. Like, how about we don't? Like, every episode of Mad Men ends with like someone smoking a cigarette and looking out a window and being like, huh,
Remember
life's
remember
weird.
remember the previews for Mad Men?
No.
The previews were so good because they were like exactly that. And like everyone loved Mad Men. We watch it and every week we're like,
I
"Oh my god,
love
what's going to
Mad
happen
Men.
next week?"
I still love it. Yeah.
But the previews were like someone smoking a cigarette and going, "I'll call him." Like that or like the most like, sounds good. Like just
Have you
absolutely
read the
nothing.
Have you read the descriptions of episodes of like official descriptions of episodes of Mad Men, like on
No.
whatever streaming thing they're on, or like
No.
on the DVDs or whatever? The official description for every episode of Mad Men is like Don takes a meeting, Roger has a phone call, Peggy tries out something new. And it's like just that, and you're like, what? And like, as someone who's watched Mad Men all the way through multiple times, you can just read that and be like, I guess she does that.
They definitely do. Very
Don does
accurate.
have a meeting in this episode. He has a meeting, many meetings in every episode, but like,
Philip G's in the chat says, "What about
what
buddy
about
games?"
Buddy Games? Yeah,
You know
there
we
we go.
don't watch buddy games, but I did one
Never.
last little thing I watched was the Burial, which is on Prime
Oh, with
Video.
Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee Jones. I just think if you want like to be brought back to the 90s, you're like, I need a courtroom, like a dramedy
Drama.
with
Ooh,
two top of their game actors. I
yeah.
mean, I want to see Jamie Foxx be a fucking smooth talking lawyer. I want to see Tommy Lee Jones as an elderly gentleman who's raised his 13 children and just wants to pass his funeral home business on to them. Like, that's what I want to see, actually. I highly recommend it. It's like a tight, it's like tight 90 minutes. Unlikely duo with them becoming friends. Like, it's just very good. It's very good.
I I should watch it. I recently had a number of friends over to my apartment a couple weeks ago who had not seen A Few Good Men, written by Aaron Sorkin, and we all had a Few Good Men night, and we all watched it. I've seen it many times. And they all loved it. So I should, like, speaking of
Yeah,
90s
I wouldn't
court
say it's up
thrillers.
there. I wouldn't describe it as written by Aaron Sorkin. It's written by a friend of Aaron Sorkin's. It's like Aaron Sorkin's college roommate maybe wrote it.
Yeah.
But so that's it. That's all I got.
I love it. This was a fantastic episode.
It was.
We're back. We're back on our bullshit. We're back
Mhm.
here on YouTube doing it.
Well, technically we were back last week, I guess, but
We were not. Well, we were not on YouTube. We were back.
We were. Yeah. Thank you all so much for listening. You can always tweet at us, Hey Julie BB on Twitter. You can send us an email, heyjuliebigbrother@gmail.com, and you can join our Discord, which is now extra exciting because we have custom emojis in the Discord.
Yeah. Was it 306? Is that the person's name? Who made some custom emojis in there? I'm really like beginning to basically be done with
X.
With X, and yeah, like I've really been enjoying the Discord. I kind of wasn't paying attention to our own Discord for a little bit, or I was like just posting when it was like a new episode came out. But I'm back on it, and thank you 306 for making
Yes,
some
thank you
emojis.
so much.
I'm not even gonna reach out to you. You just got to listen to this. 306. You spelled YouTube wrong in one of the emojis. Fix that. I don't know how to do that. So do that. Join us on Discord. It's fun. We're there. I'm there. That might not be a selling point. The link is in the description on the various things. Danielle, gonna miss you. Take care of your teeth.
Thank you so much. Bye, Julie.
Bye, Julie.